Hey, Stella!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 greatest actors of all time.
I have such doubts.
For this list, we'll be looking at men and women who've truly mastered the craft of acting. However, in order to set parameters, for this list, we've focused our attention on actors who've primarily worked in English. Besides Jon Lovitz, who would you call a master thespian? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Leonardo DiCaprio. He's come a long way from his 23-episode stint as Luke Bauer on Growing Pains.
Excuse me! I thought today's subject was gravity.
Okay, fine. Fine.
And sure, he was a good-looking guy and he handled his own on-screen, but that character wasn't evidence of the amazing actor Leonardo DiCaprio was to become. It would first really show itself about a year later in DiCaprio's Oscar-nominated turn in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and the evidence kept mounting from there.
I'm not tired yet, Gilbert.
Gotta go to sleep, okay?
Okay. Goodbye.
No, it's not goodbye, it's good night.
Yeah.
In his early 20s, his talent reigned in The Basketball Diaries and Romeo and Juliet. As he got older, he matured, and so did his performances, whether it was playing Howard Hughes or J. Edgar Hoover, or winning his first Oscar for his brilliant turn in The Revenant.
Is it true you killed an officer?
I just killed a man who was trying to kill my son.
Number 19, Robin Williams. There are very few people who would ever be on a list of the greatest comedians of all time and a list of the greatest actors. Robin Williams is one of those people. Some of his best performances relied on his brilliant comedic mind and manic personality, from Good Morning Vietnam to Aladdin.
Excuse me? Are you looking at me? Did you rub my lamp? Did you wake me up? Did you bring me here? And all of a sudden you're walking out on me? I don't think so. Not right now. You're getting your wishes, so sit down!
But what makes Williams such a standout actor was his ability to play the drama, the quiet, and those moments of true depth and introspection. An ability highlighted in his Oscar-winning performance as Sean Maguire in Good Will Hunting.
Maybe you're perfect right now. Maybe you don't want to ruin that. But I think that's a super philosophy, Will. That way you can go through your entire life without ever having to really know anybody.
He really could do it all. We would stand on our desks any day for Robin Williams. Number 18, Christian Bale. As great as he was in Newsies, Christian Bale really put the acting world on notice with his calm yet terrifying performance as Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Is that a raincoat?
Yes, it is. In '87, Huey released this. 4, their most accomplished album. I think their undisputed masterpiece is Hip to Be Square.
Since then, Bale has continued to show off his ability to transform into his characters, sometimes to a physically mind-blowing degree, as with his role in The Machinist. His ability to hide his British accent is also quite impressive, whether it be for a generic American voice or when portraying a real-life person such as Dick Cheney. He was also a pretty darn good Batman.
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Number 17, Bette Davis. With her 1962 Best Actress nomination for her performance in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Davis became the first person ever nominated for 10 acting Oscars, excluding her write-in nomination 28 years prior.
Wasn't anything. Just that nosy Mrs. Bates going on about your picture last night.
Oh, really? Did she like it? Oh, really? Did she like it?
Davis wasn't just one of the biggest stars of the golden age of Hollywood. She was one of the best actors as well. She had a tough and unflinching presence on screen that took even the most common of roles and made them special. Of Human Bondage made Davis a star, and she followed that up with 2 Oscar-winning roles, the second of which came playing a Southern belle in Jezebel. Years later, in All About Eve, Davis gave maybe her most iconic performance and delivered her most famous line.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Number 16, Anthony Hopkins. While Anthony Hopkins has given us too many great performances to count, his ability to embody completely different characters is encapsulated beautifully in his first two Oscar-nominated performances. First, as the highly intelligent and manipulative killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, no. You were doing fine. You had been courteous and receptive to courtesy. You had established trust with the embarrassing truth about Miggs. And now this ham-handed segue into your questionnaire.
Second, as the quiet and reserved butler James Stevens in The Remains of the Day. His turn years later as Pope Benedict XVI earned him another Academy Award nomination and continued to prove he's deserving of a spot on this list.
But might I suggest you try telling the newspapers the opposite of what you think? Your chances of being quoted correctly might therefore improve.
We'd watch Hopkins act any day, with or without some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Number 15, Denzel Washington. When it comes to great actors, few have a magnetism that can compare to that of Denzel Washington. His charisma and talent are larger than life.
What is thy name? Thou'lt be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou callest thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
Whether he's doing Shakespeare or rocking an action movie, Washington's presence fills the screen, grabs you, and doesn't allow you to look away. He doesn't even have to say a single word, as he proved early on in one of the most powerful scenes of his career in the film Glory. Washington may not be as big as a giant gorilla, but when it comes to his on-screen presence, King Kong really doesn't have anything on this uber-talented actor.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Number 14, Cate Blanchett. You know how Classico pasta sauce bills itself as the second best compared to homemade? Well, Cate Blanchett is such a great actor that her portrayal of Queen Elizabeth I and Katharine Hepburn are second only to the actual women themselves.
I've met someone, I've fallen in love, and I'm moving out. If I could make it any more gentle, I would.
Blanchett's range is so impressive, she even earned one of her many Oscar nominations for playing a version of Bob Dylan in I'm Not There.
I'm not the president. I'm not some shepherd. I'm just a storyteller, man, that's all I am.
And we can't forget her portrayal of Galadriel in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, a role that made such an impact, Guillermo del Toro and Peter Jackson wrote her into the Hobbit trilogy, even though the character isn't actually in the novel. Number 13, Humphrey Bogart. When the American Film Institute put out their list of greatest screen legends, it was Humphrey Bogart who topped the male side of the list. His stardom cannot be denied, but it could also be a reason he doesn't always get the credit for his acting talents that he deserves. Talents that saw him create the model for the iconic film noir detective in The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep.
There's one thing I can't figure out.
What makes me run?
Uh-huh.
I'll give you a little hint. Sugar won't work. It's been tried.
What'd you try it on me for? Who told you to sugar me off this case? Was it Eddie Mars?
And then there's Rick Blaine in Casablanca, a heartbroken man with the strength to let go of the woman he loved because it was the right thing to do. If you never see a Bogart film, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
Number 12, Ingrid Bergman. After about 5 years making movies in Sweden and Germany, Bergman made the jump to Hollywood, and the movie industry was all the better for it. Her most famous role was opposite Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. However, as time went by, Bergman continued to impress critics and filmgoers alike with her versatility.
I never expect to see you again.
It's been a long time.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of water under the bridge.
Some of the old songs, Sam.
Yes, ma'am.
In Gaslight, she plays a woman falsely convinced that she's losing her mind. Bergman won her first Oscar for the role, and 30 years later, she won her third playing a passenger on the Orient Express.
Were your parents religious?
They had no respect for God.
Number 11. Jack Nicholson. While everyone does a Jack Nicholson impression, when it comes to his ability as an actor, there are few who compare. Off-screen, he has a cool guy with sunglasses aura. On-screen, Nicholson has proved his ability to do pretty much anything. For some, his role in The Shining is the top.
Stop swinging the bat. Put the bat down, Wendy.
Stop it!
Wendy, give me the bat. Give me the bat.
For others, there's no more iconic Nicholson than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Chinatown. And we still haven't mentioned A Few Good Men, As Good as It Gets, or The Departed.
When I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference?
And if longevity means anything to you, allow us to point out the fact that Nicholson was nominated for an acting Oscar every decade from the 60s through the 2000s. Number 10. Tom Hanks. Comedy, drama, romance, Tom Hanks can do it all. Hanks can float from one genre to another and knock it out of the park each time like few other actors can. He made his name in 80s comedies and became a rom-com icon in the 90s.
It's you.
It's me.
I saw you in the street.
Are you Annie? Yes.
But while other actors could have easily been boxed into those types of movies, Hanks showed off his range, winning 2 consecutive Best Actor Oscars for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump.
Those must be comfortable shoes. I'll bet you could walk all day in shoes like that and not feel a thing. I wish I had shoes like that.
My feet hurt.
He also made us cry over a volleyball. How many actors can say that? Hanks might be the nicest guy in Hollywood, but he's also one of the best actors. Number 9. Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn's breakout role, and the one that earned her an Oscar, was Princess Anne in Roman Holiday. A true natural beauty, audiences fell in love with Hepburn in that movie, and that love continued to flourish for the rest of her amazing career. In Sabrina and Charade, Hepburn didn't just hold her own opposite the likes of Humphrey Bogart and Cary Grant. She forced them to bring their A-games to keep up with her. And then there was Holly Golightly.
It's all right, it's only me.
No, wait a minute, Miss,
Golightly. Holly Golightly. I live downstairs. We met this morning, remember?
Innocent and worldly, sweet and sophisticated, highborn and charitable. Audrey Hepburn was all that and more, and could play it all on the stage and up on the silver screen as well. Number 8. Al Pacino. While most associated with big, loud outbursts and moments of climactic exclamations, pigeonholing Al Pacino in that way does a disservice to one of the greatest acting talents Hollywood has ever seen.
There's got to be a way to wipe it out. God damn it, there's got to be a way.
Let's get out of here for a while, huh, honey? Let's go to a movie.
Will you quit handling me? What are you doing? Go to a movie. How am I going to go to a movie? You know they'd kill me if they knew. Do you know that?
Sure, he's great at being loud, but that's not where his greatness comes from. For all of the "you're out of order" and "Attica, Attica, Attica," there are also moments of quiet conversation, true studies in character that are just as riveting.
What's most important to me is that I have a guarantee. No more attempts on my father's life.
He can be the head of a criminal family or an aging, paranoid, mid-level mafioso. He can do Shakespeare and Mamet, and he does it all with a force and deep connection with character and truth that continues to impress. Number 7. Sidney Poitier. Besides his talents as an actor, Sidney Poitier's influence and importance on the African American experience cannot be minimized.
She's absolutely right, Mrs. Straight, and I'm sorry. I told her not to spring all this on you so suddenly, but...
Poitier had a talent and a determination that defied simple black stereotypes, and he brought that nuance and truth to all of his characters. With his Best Actor Oscar for 1963's Lilies of the Field, Poitier became the first black actor to win in said category. From The Defiant Ones to In the Heat of the Night, Poitier continuously subverted expectations and earned the respect of critics, audiences, and his peers.
What do they call you up there?
They
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
While studios in the 50s and 60s used to edit out black actors for certain audiences, as Denzel Washington put it, quote, "You couldn't cut Sidney Poitier out of a Sidney Poitier picture." Number 6. Robert De Niro. There's no doubting Robert De Niro's place on this list, as he is certainly one of the greatest actors of all time. His iconic roles in movies like Taxi Driver, The King of Comedy, and Cape Fear have definitely cemented his name in film history. Beyond emotionally and mentally immersing himself in his roles, De Niro is known for physically committing completely to a character. He famously put on 60 pounds for a portion of his 1980 performance as Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull.
Seriously, folks, it's a thrill to be standing here before you wonderful people tonight. Well, in fact, it's a thrill to be standing.
And while he made his name in dramas and crime films, he's proved in more recent decades, with films such as Analyze This and Meet the Parents, that he can do comedy also. Number 5. Katharine Hepburn. On that same AFI list that saw Humphrey Bogart in the top spot as the greatest male screen legend of all time, across from him on the female side stood Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, I've had about enough of this.
Look, listen to me. Let's get out of here. Just start walking. Believe
So
me.
now you want to walk? Well, I'm quite sure that I don't want to walk with you. And I hope you realize that you've made a perfect spectacle of yourself. Have you finished?
A legendary status that she earned over an amazing 6 decades-long career that saw her play strong, independent women who took a backseat to no man. But don't just take our word for it. Take a look at Hepburn's proverbial mantle and you'll find 4 Best Actress Oscars, more than any other actor ever. Her consistency over so many years can't be understated either. Hepburn won her first Oscar for her third film, 1933's Morning Glory, and took home her 4th Academy Award for her third-to-last film, 1981's On Golden Pond.
I thought you'd be nude.
No? Sorry. I didn't want to overwhelm our guest on his first night. He's nice, isn't he?
Number 4. Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is widely regarded as one of the finest thespians ever. In 2012, Time magazine proclaimed him the world's greatest actor, and with his Oscar for Lincoln, Day-Lewis became the first 3-time Best Actor winner.
I signed the Emancipation Proclamation a year and a half before my second election. I felt I was within my power to do it. However, I also felt that I might be wrong about that. I knew the people would tell me. I gave them a year and a half to think about it, and they re-elected me.
His career has been distinguished by thought-provoking performances in a range of critically acclaimed films, and the time and energy he devotes to each role is legendary. For his role in the Name of the Father, Day-Lewis lost over 50 pounds and demanded the crew verbally abuse him. During the filming of Gangs of New York, the crew had to convince him to get treated for pneumonia. He initially refused because it wasn't true to the time period. When it comes to acting, Day-Lewis drinks all of our milkshakes.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
Number 3. Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep's unparalleled acting ability, approachability, and dynamism easily make her one of the greatest thespians of both stage and screen. From her heartbreaking turn in Sophie's Choice to her spot-on performance as Margaret Thatcher in The Iron Lady, Streep has consistently showcased her remarkable range as a performer.
With all due respect, sir, I have done battle every single day of my life, and many men have underestimated me before. This lot seem bound to do the same. But they will rue the day.
And while awards and nominations might not always be a perfect indicator of talent, Streep's record 21 Oscar and 33 Golden Globe nominations are crazy numbers that can't be overlooked. Comedy, drama, musicals, accents. As an actor, Streep has proven that there's nothing she can't handle, and do so at a level we've rarely seen.
And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
Number 2. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando burst onto the Hollywood scene in the 1950s with a string of powerful and acclaimed performances. From A Streetcar Named Desire to On the Waterfront, Brando's talents shone on screen, and he received 5 Oscar nominations between 1951 and 1957.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
He was one of the first actors to popularize the technique known as method acting, and with it, he gave his characters a convincing level of realism and depth of emotion rarely seen before. While the 60s saw Brando's career take a downward turn with lackluster movies and even some uninspired performances, he proved his immense talents once again in 1972 with The Godfather.
Look how they massacred my boy.
His performances were often daring and thought-provoking, and his influence on a generation of actors is undeniable. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Kate Winslet, a talented ray of eternal sunshine in Hollywood.
But you will. Right now, I can't. But you will. You know, you will think of things, and I'll get bored with you and feel trapped, because that's what happens with me.
Okay.
Vivien Leigh. Frankly, Vivien, we give a damn about how good an actor you were.
I've been looking for you everywhere. I've got something I must tell you. Can't we go someplace where it's quiet?
Yes, I'd like to, but I have something to tell you, too. Something I hope you'll be glad to hear.
Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix gets a big thumbs up from us. Elizabeth Taylor. Taylor was nominated for an Oscar 4 years in a row between 1958 and 1961.
What's with you and Yale? Always Yale.
It's the last college left.
Why?
Well, I started with Amherst, and I worked my way through the alphabet to Yale. I'm stuck there.
Gary Oldman. He might have been the greatest actor to never win an Oscar until he won for Darkest Hour.
The new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Laurence Olivier. When it comes to acting on the stage, there may not be a name greater than Laurence Olivier.
Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember, with advantages, what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words.
Starting in the 1920s, Olivier began performing in plays. And by the 30s, he was amazing West End audiences in London with his immersive and powerful performances in everything from comedies to Shakespeare. His influence was so great that the Society of West End Theatre Awards were renamed the Laurence Olivier Awards in 1984. Having said all that, his film work also stands out as remarkable. Along with more brilliant Shakespearean turns, Olivier earned his spot atop our list playing, among others, a conniving crime writer in Sleuth and a sadistic Nazi war criminal dentist in Marathon Man.
Is it safe?
You talking to me?
Is it safe?
It's what safe?
Is it safe?
I don't know what you mean.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.